Business models. This is one of the hardest things companies are having trouble changing. The need to have control is something that we have been brought up with. How many of you went to business school? Yeah, so you were taught a lot about how to put controls on things. And you would control everything from the hours people could come shop to what it was that they could have. You know, you would say, well, we can't do any substitutes. The entire world 10 years ago stopped being about you being in control. And now I want to bring this back to personal agency. Because what started happening as the millennials at 15 years old decided they were in charge of shopping, they started inventing their own ways to get things they wanted. They no longer were willing to have things defined for them. Now they would define the when, where, and how much, and even construct it themselves. And any business that doesn't build itself that way will not survive. And we've been building business like that for quite a few years, but again, people thought we were nuts. They said, you know, the whole idea was if you had something new come off the line, you know, like when the things that Google does, you have guys sitting around, girls, guys, mostly guys, as the research has shown, looking at 20% time of something they want to do, and it often comes off of something that they want to do for themselves. It is in the next iteration. So there's no longer versions, V1, V2, V2. There is now, the minute you've got an idea, it's immediately in motion. All right. So here's a couple of other things. The concept is going to go from the idea of long-term planning and problem solving to wholeness, so that you're always looking at what else makes this whole. How do we move it toward wholeness? And the way you do that really is actually start with the essence. So sodium cyanide is a deadly chemical. Anybody here chemist or done chemical background work? When I went to work in DuPont with sodium cyanide, I was trained every 3 months on how to smell sodium cyanide, because in 2 minutes it'll kill you. So you have a whole factory of people here who are making this deadly product. And what they decided to do, as we begin to look at what is sodium cyanide being used for, it was used a lot for binding gold to come out of a mountain. It can go inside any kind of form of rock, and it can extract gold. And so they felt good because they said, well, the majority of what we're doing is being used for medical reasons, or brilliant ideas that go into computers or something in the internet. So someone decided to go do the research. It turned out 90% of it went into jewelry. And it broke their hearts. It actually was shocking to them. They suddenly felt like what they were doing didn't have meaning. So we said, well, I wonder if you figured out what the essence of sodium cyanide was, could you use it another way? Because if you go actually look at the essence of a raw material, it has work it's trying to do. And we discovered that sodium cyanide really was about binding, and it did a really good job of binding cancer cells. And as a result of that, it was able to extract, and is now still there's some things in testing, but already some that are in use, that when you understood the essence of a material, it could be used for something else. So that invention of moving from, well, long term, we'll figure out something else to do with this. Nope. Let's do it now. All right. These are things we're going to talk more about in the coming sessions. We're going to look more at moving away from competition and into non-displaceability, because you're unique and nobody else can be you. Moving away from everything being a batch to really moving to the next generation immediately. And this one is really fun. I work with Google, as I said, and one of the things Larry Page says, who's one of the founders, is, I want us doing 10x moonshots. But the 10x is not for Google. The 10x is for the people that it serves. So when people come and ask for money, they have an internal VC process. You have to prove it's going to have a 10x for Earth, for a community, for consumers, and that the return is coming for them. The ROI moves from being internal to being external. And this is a requirement of any proposal that comes in to be worked on. All right, next time, we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about moving away from leading people to actually leading cultures, leading industries. The time after that, we're going to look at work design and management, where people are 100% free agency. Supervisors move from being supervisors to being resources to teams. I've never in my life helped a company lay off people that didn't have something that was either the same or better. Even in Kingsford Charcoal, when we closed down 6 of the 11 facilities, no one was without a job that was of the same or better pay and contribution. So it's possible to know how to do that, and we'll look at that. All right, so I want to give you just a little overview. What I'm giving you is a flavor for, hopefully, of what I'll be offering in the program, the responsible business and the nature of work we're going to do, how you can run organizations so that they do strategy in a way that's much more innovative. And it really is for growth-minded folks. There's nothing wrong with having a small business which supports your family, but it's very exciting to have a business that could change the course of history. And you could do it without a major change in what you do, except you target it differently and you get a very different set of results. So that's what this course is really going to be about. It's for, I think we've even got a list of the folks that I particularly think will be helped by this. Those which have functional expertise, but they need whole business acumen. So for example, STEM experts. We have a lot of brilliant folks who have STEM companies, you know, science, technology, engineering, and math. But they don't actually know enough about the business, or there's more to learn. So this program is targeted at them. It management succession plans, so that people who are on the move, moving along, it's a great place for, I've done inside of DuPont for years and now inside of Google, where we become the education process for their next round of promotable folks. Or for someone new they put in that, you know, knows a lot about the, quote, product, but they don't yet know about how you run a business, how earnings, margins, and cash flow work. So we'll be teaching them how they work, not how to count them. We're not an accounting program. But they don't have quite enough experience. Founders who want to transition, leaders who want to transition. This will be a perfect place because we're talking about how to grow a business, what the background is for that. And then finally, all of those who need to learn to think with the mind of the CEO. We do that with everybody. So 100% of the people in a company think with the mind of a CEO. Just want to go back a little bit because it runs for a year at a time, 12 days on site and 18 hours or maybe a couple more of webinars. So if you want to know more about that, happy to tell you. And then the last thing is, and then I promise we can have some conversations. If tonight you want to buy one of these books, and I am going to give away one of them, and you buy tonight and send me the email, I'll give you what I sell corporations for $125, which is the workbook that goes with it. Because I want people using it. I want them using it quickly, so giving you the book is good, but it's nice if you actually could go to work with the workbook. Same is true for the responsible entrepreneur, but workbook's a little cheaper. You just send me an email to that address, and I'll be glad to give you copies of the workbooks.